Thank you for joining us for our second part of our 12th night cake. Now, if we go back to James Boswell's account, talking about 12th night and the importance of the cake, one of the things he really stresses is that not just the 12th night cake, but this was 12th day on which a great deal of jollity goes on in England at the eating of the 12th cake, all sugared over. So if we look at original accounts of these great cakes, they can be left plain, they can be decorated however you like, but there is strong evidence that a white sugaring coating was definitely the preferred way of decorating. And you can see that in Hannah Glass's receipt, where she actually has both to make a rich cake, but then also right below the receipt for the rich cake to ice a great cake. Her recipe says to take the whites of 24 eggs and a pound of double refined sugar, beat and sifted fine, mix both together in a deep earthen pan, and with a whisk it well for 2 or 3 hours together till it looks white and thick. Then, with a thin, broad board or bunch of feathers, spread it all over the top and sides of the cake. Set it at a proper distance before a good, clear fire, and keep turning it continually for fear of its changing color. But a cool oven is best, and an hour will harden it. You may perfume the icing with what perfume you please. So, Hannah Glass is writing this receipt for the home baker, the home cook. This is something that you could have done at home, but also, again, requires a huge amount of effort. Today we can purchase powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar from the grocery store relatively easily. We can also beat those egg whites to the level they need with an electric mixer. In the 18th century, this was an extremely labor-intensive process, and it describes it right there, 2 or 3 hours to get to this point. Also, for the home cook, you can do this at home, but this was a full profession. You have many receipt books that are just focused on the confectionery side of baking, and these have wonderful recipes for sugaring fruits, creating preserves, but also doing beautiful decorative work that would have been meant to be placed as a decoration on a cake like this, or even as their own setting, completely on their own. There are beautiful displays made out of decorative sugar work that look like gorgeous pieces of ceramic. Now, a professional confectioner, and we do have great descriptions. One food waste historian who has done amazing research into this is Ivan Day, and his website has great descriptions of both the great cakes, the 12th night cakes, but also the beautiful molds and the work done to decorate these. So a professional confectioner would have their own molds carved out of a fruit wood or a boxwood, something that would be able to hold beautiful levels of detail. Using gum paste or almond paste, marzipan, you can create beautiful decorations that could be applied onto cakes, or again, even freestanding elements completely in their own right. For a home baker, using Hannah Glass's receipt, it would have been enough to have this really clear, you can see the sheen on this, the shine that it provides, a really nice clean surface, and then you could decorate it with whatever you would like. And it does say with feathers. I would recommend not using those today, to actually apply all of the icing throughout the cake. Now, for some of the toppings, you could have anything from comfits, which are sugared seeds. These are anise seeds, so those could be used as decoration on the cake. Or again, going back to some of these receipt books, there are recipes for sugaring flowers, and these are actually sugared violets from last spring. So something that during the winter, when you don't have a lot of greenery, don't have flowers that are naturally growing, having something like that might be a nice reminder of spring. One of the most popular decorations for a 12th night cake are gum paste swans. These are ceramic, but gum paste swans, or especially probably the most favorite, most preferred decoration is actually something like a crown or 2 crowns. Again, to show that 12th night king or queen that you're selecting, that element of epiphany, very, very popular. Now, when you were making this at home, very labor intensive, and again, really important to remember that the Schuylers, this work would have been done by enslaved cooks. This would not have been done by the Schuyler family. They were actually holding people in bondage who did all of this beautiful work. So we do believe Silva, Susanna, Bet, but there are others, and that research continues to go on. For today's recipe, we're going to modify it again for the modern home. This is a very simple recipe, and also if you notice there's a lot of reference to the egg whites. We'll actually be using something pasteurized, so it's a little bit safer. So at home, take 3 ounces of pasteurized egg whites, add to that 4 cups of confectioner sugar. Make sure they're well blended, and then you're going to add enough water to make a nice paste. Be very careful. I would start with 1/4 cup water, and then add about a tablespoon at a time after that, always mixing to make sure you've got the right consistency. It's very easy to go too far and make a frosting, make an icing that is too watery, and at that point, it's very hard to go backwards. It seems like a lot of confectioner sugar, but it really does not require a lot of water to create a nice paste. Again, in the 18th century, all of that sugar, that confectioner sugar, would have started with a sugar cone, and then the manual labor required would have been using a mortar and pestle to really grind that sugar down to that powdered state. So right there, that already would have been extremely labor intensive. And then the eggs would have had to have been whipped as well. This did mention putting it in front of the fire to help harden it. That does happen very quickly with royal icing, and that's basically what we're creating, is a royal icing top. Once it's dried, you have this beautiful clean surface. You can apply your decorations as you like. If you want to try some gum paste crowns or the swans, or again, if you want to find some of your own decorations to personalize this for your own family. Thank you again for joining us for Schuyler Mansion Historic Sites 12th night, and I hope you enjoy the festivities of the season.